people sleeping rough in England has hit a record high, after a 73% increase over the last 3 years. Official government data shows that on any given night in autumn last year, 4,751 people were recorded sleeping on the streets, a figure that has more than doubled since 2010. Our aim is to find out to what extent, if any at all, are homeless people responsible for their circumstances. In order to do so, it is important to understand the various reasons as to why people become homeless, as many people have their own opinions on the matter.
In my experience, like mental health, alcohol, drugs, domestic violence, people being disillusioned by society, there's kids running away from care and stuff like that. There's people run away from situations who can't face society and rather be on the street. You know, I know because I was homeless once. Yeah.
Enough respect for themselves, people not having the right upbringing and people being neglected, and it's normally something to do with what has happened in their previous, like when I was a child, and that's why I'm like this, because of when I was a child. This is like why I feel like this, and it develops in that way, and it's mostly all the time because of that, you know what I mean? And they don't have enough, because we can all do it, you know what I mean? If we really try hard enough, we could all sort ourselves out, you know what I mean? Because everyone has the capability to do something like that.
Sadly, many people view homelessness as a result of personal failings and consider that if the economy is going well, there is no excuse for not getting on. But this belief is belied by facts, which show that homelessness is caused by a complex interplay between a person's individual circumstance and adverse structural factors outside their direct control. These problems can build up over the years until the final crisis when a person becomes homeless.
It's not always that way that they choose to go, but society in itself or whatever's happened to them could force them to be to do that, to not even try.
And also, people who take drugs who have a disease, yeah, it's not that their fault. You know, some people say they're born with it, it's in their DNA, you know what I mean? It's passed your parents, most of your parents are alcoholics or whatever. Everybody chooses to be homeless. If you have mental illness, you don't choose to have a mental illness. You don't choose society to just think so little of you that they don't bother, you know? And all this thing about care in the community, that's just the government's cheap way of dealing with the situation. Yeah, they took so much funding out of projects in the community that the people like homeless people can't go to. We work in shelter, yeah. We see so many things coming through that door, don't we? We volunteer at shelter, which is a homeless place in Plumstead. And the kind of people, lots and lots of mental health and drugs and alcohol. Domestic violence is a big one. You know, we see children on the street, you know what I mean, because they're being hit by their parents, or the mother's being hit by the men. It can be women hitting men as well, can't it? Not just one way. Nobody chooses to be homeless. Would you? No.
Jacob Whitmore is a prime example of how structural and complex factors that are out of your direct control can lead to one becoming another homeless figure.
You to your circumstance?
My mum gave me away when I was 6. She was doing, she put clothes in the bin bags. She had a new boyfriend, she got a boyfriend in. She got put the clothes in the bin bags, dumped me out into Plumstead in Elmley Street, and I had to go to my grandma's house, and that was when I was 6 years old. And that's the true story. Yeah.
Homeless are vulnerable populations in many respects. Those experiencing homelessness not only experience personal and economic hardships, they also face discrimination and exclusion because of their housing status. Social stigma occurs in situations where there is unequal social, economic, and political power, and there is an opportunity to label, stereotype, and discriminate.
It's where, like the government, people with the money business, yeah, it's a cheap way of saying they're drug addicts, it's their fault, they're on drugs, it's their fault. Why are they on drugs? Why are they displaying mental health characteristics? Why? This guy lost his job, he lost his home, he lost everything. You know for a fact his mental health was not good at that time. Where was society? Where was the money? And there's so much money has come out of projects in the community, you know. There's less more community projects for homeless people. for domestic violence, for drugs, alcohol. The government's taken funding from them projects and going where? Big privatisation, big buildings, big tower blocks and Woolwich building off. Yeah, they just took loads of funding from the community, from projects in the community. You know, if the government think they're clever, they're not. We see right through them, so they're not, and they think they're transparent, they're not. You know, they're not.
I was younger, I did take like MDMA and stuff like that and go partying and stuff like that. But I've just calmed down now, you know what I mean? I smoke cigarettes, I have the odd beer every now and then, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's not a good thing at all. And it does need to be addressed, yeah. It needs to be addressed with people asking these people, but they do it, so I can't say, but most people don't accept the help, so a lot of people do want the help and they're stuck in a cycle and they don't break out of it and they just want to do what they're doing and get on with their lives.
It is clear that the homeless crisis is an ongoing one that needs to be dealt with rapidly. Every homeless person's story differs. There are many factors that can contribute and lead to one becoming homeless. It is therefore unfair to blame a person for a situation they are unable to prevent nor resolve. Young Jacob is a prime example of this. He did not choose to live his life on the streets. Yes, not all homeless people's stories are like Jacob's. However, it is imperative not to judge a person simply based on their unfortunate housing circumstance. If they had it their way, they would not be homeless.
I know in the heart of heart that it is my fault why I am like this, you know what I mean? Because I can progress, but I struggle to. I've got problems. I've got health problems. I've got mental issues like in my head. I've got paranoia. I've got psychosis. I've got a nerve damage in my leg where my dad stabbed me in the leg, and yeah, struggle sometimes, and I struggle to have the ability to. Just get yourself out. I just get stuck.
More money back into the community. Let the community help themselves. Yeah, because every sort of borough will be different. Yeah, every city is different. Newcastle won't be the same as London because there's more people coming through the pole in London, Dover, yeah, and stuff like that. So every region is different. Every region or community have different needs. Yeah? So how about letting the community help themselves and putting money back into the community and not giving it to God knows who?
Local authorities estimated on a single night in autumn 2016, there was 4,134 rough sleepers, compared to 3,596 the previous year. This huge jump raises the question as to who is to blame. Is it fair to blame homeless people for their situation?